AFC win totals as set by the folks at PointsBet. Every team there except the Browns. The Browns are off the board because we don't know how many games Deshaun Watson will or won't play in, so it's kind of hard to have an over-under as to how many games you expect them to win or lose. Let's go ahead and put that back up for a second because I want to point out a couple of things. Anytime you get above double digits or into double digits, that's a high bar for any team, especially in the AFC. Can we put the graphic back up? That's a high bar this year. There's 4 teams that are north of 10 wins. Broncos, Chiefs, Chargers at 10.5. You got 3 teams from the same division with an over-under of 10.5, Christopher. Well, that's unbelievable to me.
It is unbelievable. I mean, it's one of them's not going to get there. One of them's not. I mean, I wouldn't expect to. And the fact that they all have to play each other. And then the other team in that division's got a win total of 8.5 in the Raiders, to where, they're going to kill each other to a degree in the West a little bit there. I would think, but yes, I understand money or people, the public, having confidence in those football teams there. It's a quarterback league. There's 3 phenomenal quarterbacks with those teams, let alone we know the Bills at the top. They got arguably the best quarterback in football right now. It's either him or Mahomes, so you're right. Those are big numbers, certainly. And people are expecting a lot from the Broncos and Chargers this year. And I know both teams are close, but again, I'd have a hard time picking them as we sit here right now over the Chiefs. I know it's they've improved their team and the Chiefs lost Tyreek Hill, but man, I don't know. I don't think I could pull the trigger and pick any of them over the Chiefs quite yet.
That's just astounding. And look, this has been a widespread phenomenon for just a few years now because these kinds of numbers weren't widely available. They weren't widely discussed. The idea that 3 teams from the same division are 10.5, even with a 17-game season, 3 teams at 10.5 is astounding to me. And, yeah, somebody's not getting there. Maybe 2 of them won't get there. The Bills at 11.5. I mean, you bet the over on that. You're banking on the Bills going at least 12-5. And there's a lot of things that can go wrong to cause a team to not win 12 or more games, Chris.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, yes, and we know Miami's better. New England, I expect them to still be every bit as good as last year, if not better. A new team they had last year 2. So it's not. It's going to be tough sledding, like you said, in the AFC in general. There's just so many talented quarterbacks. I think games are going to be so close, and some of them we're going to be able to boil it down to just like what quarterbacks got the ball last. I really do look at it that way in a lot of ways with some of these guys. But, yeah, 11.5 is a big win total. But the Bills, with their defense, coaching staff, again, Josh Allen, what they got there, and I understand them being the team that everybody's looking at. I do. I would think they'd be the team that I would look at to go. They're in the leader house, as Chris Sims would say, as far as the team that I look at to be the Super Bowl favorite in the AFC this year. But that AFC West is crazy. It's like the NFC West. I mean, we saw the NFC West. We had 2 teams over 10.5 wins there last year, and the third team was at 10 wins in the 49ers, and that's the team that went to the NFC Championship game. So, it's doable, that's for sure.
The one that jumps off to me as a pretty good bet is the Dolphins over under 8.5 because they've had winning seasons each of the last 2 years.
Right.
And it just feels to me, even though you and I both disagreed with the firing of Brian Flores, and I think they would have been on a good track to not just have a winning season this year, but bust through to the playoffs this year, even though in the AFC, who knows? I think that they're going to at least go 9-8. I'm confident they're at least going to go 9-8. That's the one that I can look at. And I'm looking at their schedule now. They play the 4 teams of the AFC North and the 4 teams of the NFC North this year. I think the Dolphins go easily over 8.5 with Mike McDaniel, with Tyreek Hill, with the new vibe there. There's an attitude, there's a swagger, there's a rejuvenation of the brand. At a time when it's as low as it can be on one hand with the Brian Flores allegations. On the other hand, I think they hired a great coach. They've made some impressive moves.
Yeah, they have.
And I think they will be over. Now, again, injuries can change everything, but I look at the schedule, I look at where they are, I look at what they've done. The defense is still in place, and that defense was very good down the stretch last year. And we always look at like the team that finishes strong doesn't that team get a little star on it as a team that could be really good the next year? And I know they changed coaches, but this is a team that won 8 out of 9 games down the stretch. That counts for something too.
It does. It definitely does. It's a jump start for the next year. You go, man, you know what you're capable of. You know you're a team that can get hot. They kind of played up to their potential towards the end of the year. Yeah, it's a weird offseason, certainly, but you're right. It's different than like most offseasons for a team that lose their head coach, where you're like, oh, man, they got to put some pieces in place and get the team reorganized. It's not that at all here. I mean, they basically just added to a really incredible roster to go along with it already. And now it's just about, wait, can this new first-year head coach kind of hit the ground running where they left off? You said what is it, guy? It's AFC North and NFC North. Is that where you said they're playing this year?
Yes.
Yeah, that definitely is, to me, win total is great. I know we don't know the schedule, but we should all, be able to figure out the formula to a degree. AFC North, NFC North.
We know exactly who they're going to play. We just don't know
when. Right. So, yeah, that can help you in betting. But what I would tell anybody that really wants to bet money on win totals and over-unders too is please still wait for the schedule to come out. I would. The way the schedule is set up it's just as important as anything. It really is. Just like we talked about with the Colts last year. We thought the Colts were a playoff football team. We also thought with some of the new pieces and Carson Wentz not being able to, we went, and their schedule, the way it looked the first 5 weeks, we went, the Colts aren't going to get off to a good start. We like them as a team. It's good. But the stars have aligned with a few things here to where you go, I can't imagine them getting off and kicking butt. And what'd they start off? 1-4, right, Mike? Something like that. So, again, that first 3 or 4 games of a schedule to me is very important as far as dictating win totals and kind of how the season can go from that point on.
I see another one that I really like too. And I agree with you. You get more clarity once the schedule comes out.
Yeah.
I guess part of the fun is because it's going to move for the same reasons that people should wait. I think once the schedule comes out, we will potentially see some movement based upon when you get your difficult games, when you get your easy games. I like the Steelers at 7.5 too.
Yeah, I knew you would.
I've got 50-plus years in and around Pittsburgh, and I said this last year, when you expect the Steelers to be bad, they end up overachieving. We expected them to not be good last year, and they made it to the playoffs. This year, the bar's even lower, and I think they're going to have a pretty solid year, and I think they're going to win more than 7.5 games. The Ravens are who really knows right now? The Browns are in kind of a transition phase, and we don't know how many games Deshaun Watson's going to miss or it's even going to work with Deshaun Watson. And, the Bengals may have a little bit of a backslide. Whether it's Mitchell Trubisky or someone else at quarterback for the Steelers, they got enough of a team there that I think they're going to win more than 7.5 games. That's probably an even safer bet in my mind than the Dolphins over. I think the Steelers going better. Because, look, if they go under that, that's the first losing season of Mike Tomlin's entire career. Why would anyone think they're going to have the first losing season of his entire career this year? Why would you think that? But they don't have Ben Roethlisberger. Well, did you see Ben Roethlisberger last year? And he still had a winning season with Ben Roethlisberger at a very much lower than 100% version of the best Ben Roethlisberger.
Yeah. The Steelers are definitely one of those teams where you go, oh, if expectations are low, watch out. Well, all you got to do is look at last week with Mike Tomlin at the owners' meeting. I mean, like genuine excitement in the fact that people are questioning the Steelers. Like, loves it. Loves it when, didn't love when Big Ben got hurt a few years ago, but loved the fact that their backs were against the wall and the whole world said they couldn't do it. And then they fight their way out of it and get into the playoff conversation. Yeah, there's something about Mike Tomlin, the Steelers, that way. And I would agree with you. I think they're one of those teams I look at, too, to go, people, I think, are sleeping on them a little bit just because of the quarterback situation. I think there are pieces that are there to make me think like you, 7.5 is maybe a little low. I still will look at the Tennessee Titans at 9.5 and think that's low, too. I'm sorry, I will. Again, Tennessee, there's a reason they were the 1 seed last year. And to remind everybody, the 1 seed without Derrick Henry for half the year. They're not going anywhere. Yeah, I mean, Robert Woods, he'll be back, but so what? That should be an upgrade over Julio Jones. The offensive line's still good. I look at the Titans, and I'm pretty sure they got the AFC West, which won't be easy, and then they got the NFC East, which we know is debatable of what they are or what they're going to be there. So that plays in the favor of the Titans too. And I still look at the Titans, even though they're a team without the superstar quarterback in the AFC, they're the team I look at to go, out of all these teams and the win totals and all of this, the Titans are the one team that I go, offensive line, top 5 in the AFC. Defensive line, definitely top 5 in the AFC, probably both top 3 in both areas. And not all these teams in the AFC can say that. And that's where, I'd be interested to see this year. Is it going to be quarterback sexiness, or will some of these teams like the Colts and the Titans, who are a little more well-rounded, will they show up and go, hey, cool, you guys got quarterbacks, but we got a team, and we're a force to be reckoned with as well. That could be something to watch for.
They do have the AFC West and the NFC East in the AFC South. But between the Colts and the Titans, though, look, the Titans got it done last year, and with 91 different guys playing, that was a record that they set in Week 12. Mike Vrabel earned that Coach of the Year award. I know they lost to the Bengals in the division round of the playoffs, and that kind of has a major stain on the achievement of the season. But still, it's a game they could have won. It's a game they should have won, and it doesn't take away the fact that, as you said, they were the 1 seed in a very difficult conference.
Right.
That
with all those things you said, the injuries and everything. That's amazing, really, when you think about it that way.
That does seem low. So those are the 3 that seem the most glaring to me. The Titans, I agree with you. The Dolphins at 8.5 and the Steelers at 7.5. That is just screaming out that is too low.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.